Welcome to Talking Business. I'm your host, Darcey Edwards with Queen Bee Leadership Training. Talking Business is just that. We are talking business with business leaders, leaders in the community, and those who change their communities with entrepreneurship. This podcast is presented by Xpose Hope as a thank you to the business community. Catch us on all the platforms. Find us, follow us, and review us. Welcome to Talking Business. I'm Darcey Edwards, and today we have with us Danyel Rogers with Wag to My Heart Photography.
You
see pets. Well, if you're not watching, you don't see it. But anyway, talk to us a little bit about what you do, because it's kind of a little bit unique.
It is unique. When I started photography, like most people, we were trying to figure out what we love to photograph. And one day I had a booth at the Tuesday Market in downtown Hillsboro, and it all of a sudden dawned on me I was only talking to people with pets. And I could just be bubbly and approachable. And it just made my heart sing. And so as soon as I realized that, I hit the ground running and created Wag to My Heart Portrait Studio. And it basically is all about photographing your furry children. Also, some of them aren't furry. Some of them have scales or feathers. So it isn't just just dogs either. So we do cats as well.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so when did you kind of start? Did you start pre-pandemic, after, or mid? That's our new line. Pre, mid, or after?
I actually started in 2008 with basically humans and trying to figure out what it was that I liked. Not for another 5 years did I realize that pets were my thing. Okay. Because you have to test the waters. There's so many avenues that you can go through, as many people know. And I quickly learned newborns and weddings were to be left to some other professional.
That's their heart. That's their heart call.
But when it comes to our children, furry or human, I find it really important to document basically what their personalities and their authentic now, because they don't stay with us nearly as long, especially our animals. Unless you have a turtle or a parrot, right? And then you have to put those in your will.
This is the third mom of this parrot.
But I also have learned that it's a really good tool for people that are grieving once they do pass over the rainbow. Being able to have that on their wall to really, remember them and cherish everything that made them happy and made them, the connection that you had with them.
Right.
So, as most people know, if you have animals, they don't, stick around nearly as long, and it's really their biggest fault.
Right.
And most people realize now, obviously the pandemic, everybody got a dog. Most of those people, I know.
A cat and a dog.
Right?
Winston and Regina.
Oh, so cute. See, I'm that crazy lady that's interrupting people during their lunch or whatnot, and they have their dog, and I'm like, you enjoy your food, but I'm going to pet your dog. Yeah. So,
yep.
It's just, it's also really important to understand, just like if you're photographing a newborn, there's also some safety things that people need to really consider when hiring an animal photographer. All our dogs are on leash. All of these dogs were on leash. You don't see a leash. We photograph that out.
Right.
My husband is my assistant. I've trained him very well.
He likes treats.
Right? Oh, he does. He does. He will work for food.
Yes.
And so he hears me complain about certain things that I did not see during sessions, and he'll fix it during the session so he doesn't have to listen to me later. Because I'm my own worst. I get so excited. I'm with the dogs, and I forget about, all the stuff that you need to remember of hey, maybe you should just fix the collar a little bit and slow down. And he's my
go-to
guy that really helps with that, which is super nice because he can handle the dogs, handle the animals. I can stay behind the camera. And so the animals are safe, and I have little tricks. I I have a whole pouch of noise makers that aren't your typical noise makers to get their attention. And so safety and lots of love is kind of the biggest combination that we do when we're photographing the animals.
Excellent. So this is a podcast for business owners, right?
Yes.
So I'm sure you've had some obstacles or challenges, things that have come up, but you've come through them and went, okay, I'm glad I went through that because it was a little bit of a blessing in disguise.
Sure.
Do you have any of that kind of stuff that you can share with everybody?
Of course. The perceived thought is a photographer just takes pictures and that kind of stuff, but it is really about business, marketing, all that components. So as a business owner, the photography side is a very small component of that. And it's really about educating your clients to let them know what they're actually paying for. You're paying for the safety, you're paying for really high quality, imagery that's going to last, multiple generations. But the pandemic, when it hit, I actually had the best year.
Right.
I published 2 books.
Yeah.
A great thing about COVID is most of the stuff had to be photographed outside, where our animals usually reside. And so we were able to go to the parks. I always use my long lens because, having some distance between the animals, it was perfect. We were able to raise money for some rescues, which, during COVID times, well, everybody needs help, but, rescues weren't able to have, things like the doggy dash and the pug crawl and things that are going to be bringing in income for the nonprofits. And so it really just kind of jumped in and it gave me the time to do something that I've always wanted to do. It was pandemic safe, and it tied it into all the people getting their new little doggies. Right.
Me too. I love that. What are some of your inspirational books or anything that you've had that's really in the last year hit you? Are you much of a reader?
I'm a quote kind of girl of thing.
Okay.
I've been hearing a lot because obviously as entrepreneurs, we are constantly spinning our wheels, doing different things. And my biggest quote was, movement doesn't mean progress.
Right.
Yeah. And so I could be moving all day long, but is it really making me progress in my business?
Right. That's great.
It's like, oh, well, that time that I was sifting through Facebook or Instagram, I was doing research, guys.
Okay.
Right? But in the end, I was doing stuff. I was busy.
I love that.
But I wasn't really having motion. The movement wasn't doing anything really.
Right.
So
it wasn't productive.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So, we think about, probably the most people's excuse is going to be there's not enough time in the day. But if you take out all this little stuff, right?
There's days.
There's days that we need to decompress and stuff like that. But it's pretty eye-opening when you start thinking about how much time we literally just burn. Really, we're just, when we could be spending time with our families, human or furry, or working on something in business, and that's going to perpetuate your business forward, not necessarily keep it stagnant. So I think that's really important right now.
Excellent. I know before we got on, we discussed if your business was in the fire, and it was not, it was one block over. But how has that affected you? What brought up having gone through that or watching that go through, changed your perspective on anything?
It validated a lot, actually, the community that we have. Everybody stepped up, and, I've reached out to the chamber and said, look, I have space, a couple hours if people need help or need a place to land, people jumping in and helping business owners that were affected. So it really was, the parking and all that stuff, that's so minimal.
Right.
But really to just see the community. It's been amazing.
It's pretty special.
It's sad. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. but being able to see that and really have that validation that the community is there, by everybody's side. And that's something really unique about downtown Hillsboro, I feel.
Right.
All the businesses, even though I woke up and, my texts were blowing up because of the fire and not knowing where it was located. Once you realize you're not, affected,
right.
What can I do? What can I like do? All these people that, are affected, all the business owners I see all the time, it's tough, but it's really nice to see the community pull together.
Yeah, it was phenomenal to watch that.
Yeah.
And I think it was a great reminder of like, okay, things can go in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And so we really need to be thankful and have a plan. My one question I have for you is, what is something that you probably would have implemented sooner had you known it was going to be something you should have implemented sooner?
Automation, actually.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There is so many things that I just was repeatedly doing the exact same thing, slight alterations to emails or responses. I was asking the same or answering the same questions, and it's like, why am I recreating this wheel repetitively?
Oh, gotcha.
So just getting stuff automated. Like most people have similar questions.
The fact.
Yeah, exactly.
Frequently asked questions.
Right.
Here you go.
it answers the questions, and it saves my time by having some of that stuff automated. Because as business owners, we are going in 5 million directions.
Right.
So it's nice to be able to do that. And of course, you can personalize and doing other things, but those things that can be automated, I suggest any business owner to do so and automate that as best as you can.
Excellent. Okay, so tell everybody where they can find you.
So on Instagram, we are at Wagged My Heart, at Wagged My Heart Studio on Facebook. And our portrait studio is actually in downtown Hillsboro on 3rd and Main. In between is a business center right above Insomnia and Subway.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure having you. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Betty Campbell with Xpose Hope, and here's your Xpose Hope moment for today. Why is housing that is individualized to those who are trafficked important? Well, other types of housing work okay for our ladies, but they aren't quite as safe as if they are in a house with women and men who've gone through the same things that they have. Won't you help us provide housing for women and men who have been trafficked? Donate at our website today, xposehope.com/donate.
Thank you for listening to Talking Business, brought to you by Xpose Hope. We can be found on all of your favorite podcast platforms, YouTube, iTunes, all of them. Also, be sure to like us, share us, and leave a comment. Who do you want to hear from? We want to know.